Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very special guest tonight with the head coach.
No, defensive back coach.
I'm sorry, defensive back coach from Atlantic Coast, Mr. Omar Simmons.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir.
We're going to actually go over a couple of questions from Mr. Simmons, and actually they're about to kick their season off. As you know, Duval County, state of Florida, it's that time of the season. Get down on a Friday and Saturday night. So, Mr. Simmons, first of all, tell me how long you been coaching?
Total probably about 10 years. I did do semi-pro for a little while after I stopped playing. And currently I've been doing 6 years of high school football. So just trying to give something back to the kids. Okay. See, America, that's what you need right there. A positive man that's willing to actually get back to the community. Omar, what are you going to foresee for this future? What is your prediction? Definitely 500. We have a young team, but we also got some veterans on there with some great leadership. We played a Reebok in this preseason game, and they did very well. I'm proud of the kids. We had to make some adjustments, pull some offensive guys over the defense, but our coaching staff pulled together and prepared the kids very well, and we were very proud of our kids.
Okay. We were in the studio before the show began. We actually went over a couple of things. Omar actually kind of counsels these kids. What I mean by this, America, a coach can be a coach, but he's more than that. Actually tells the kids how to get into school, how to submit film, coachable, stuff like that. So Omar, please tell me, what do you do for these young gentlemen other than actually just putting them on the field and giving them instruction? When the lights go off and they walk out of the stadium, how do you prepare them for the next level?
Well, first of all, I always go back to life lessons. Football as a sport always can be translated to life lessons. Because in a moment in a game, you're going to face some adversity. Those same adversities you're going to face in life. A lot of these kids don't understand that there is a next level and that we can get them help to get them out of Jacksonville. There's a misconception that coaches can get kids into school. Actually, the kid gets themselves into school by doing their schoolwork and getting their GPAs and their test scores. Without that, I don't care how good you are, you will not go to school. And when I say not, I mean Division I, Division II, Division III. Yes, there's JUCO and there's other alternatives, but at the end of the day, they have to do what's right first in the classroom before they do what's right on the football field.
And I hope you're watching, whether it be parents, kids. What he's basically saying is, you gotta act right outside of the football field to even be considered to get that scholarship or get that letter. JT, you got any questions?
With Omar, me knowing you and what you're about, how do you deal with these? I have to call them what they are. They're new kids because they weren't brought up the way I was, the way Kev was, and the way you were. How do you deal with this new breed of attitude?
The first thing is patience, which I had to learn in my coaching. It's one thing about a coach, you have to sometimes adapt to the kids, not necessarily giving in to the kids, but they are different. They're way different. Like, sometimes I have to scratch my head on some of the things that they do. But at the end of the day, we have to be positive and let them actually lead by example.
Agreed.
So by my actions and the things that I do, like for an example is, when you're around me, they can't cuss. Because as you know, these kids cuss around us adults like we're their friends.
I feel like a kid sometimes.
Amen.
So they can't do that because they know they're going to roll after practice.
Right.
But now what I'm trying to do is change their mindset, because now when they see me or they even think I'm around, they'll say something and be like, oh, and they start looking.
Coach Simmons back there.
Right.
It's called respect.
So it's a mindset that these kids have to realize. I couldn't even think about cussing in front of an adult when I was growing up. But nowadays, because of the way society is, it has changed over the years.
Television, media,
exactly,
blah.
Exactly.
Okay, I got another question for you. So, let's translate from coming from park ball to school ball. How did they act the first time you really made them do DB drills? Because we know there's a few parks that are teaching them. Shout out to Sweetwater, Westside, FLA Vikings, and MOT Cowboys. But we know that there are parks that's not teaching these kids the proper drills, proper way to tackle, proper anything. They just coming over thinking just because they're an athlete that they can just get out there and do it.
Well, the biggest thing is, and I tell all coaches, is fundamentals. We got to start with fundamentals on the park level, high school level, and even in college sometimes some kids have to be retrained in certain things that they do.
Exactly.
So when they come over, some of their technique is very bad. So, which is why I'm glad that, we have JV that where we can actually, because some kids think, oh, I'm finna go play varsity or I'm finna go do this, but it's just like saying, okay, I'm finna leave high school and go start in college. It's a different level of talent. So also you have to learn that fundamentals is a big part of that.
Agreed.
If your footwork is not right, and footwork is in all positions, whether you're a lineman, QB, receiver, whatever, if your footwork is horrible, we got to start from the basis. Your starts, your stances, things like that, that is a big part of a kid's development. And a lot of coaches don't do development.
They just want them to run fast and find the ball and make the tackle.
Selfish.
Correct.
Agreed. Okay. With you all taking over Atlantic Coast, because what school were you at last year?
I was at Atlantic Coast last year.
No, the school before that.
Duval Charter.
Duval Charter.
Yes.
I know this is a big change for you. So when you came over to this program, knowing who was there prior, and y'all stepped into those shoes, did y'all feel like it was going to be real hard?
For me, no, because it's a passion for me.
Exactly.
No matter where I step into, I can go step into a college facility and I'm going to do the same thing because it's what I love to do. I start with very humble beginnings at the Potter's House, where we've had 25, 27 players, and they got to play both ways. And we're playing Madison counties, and we're playing with Yulees and things like that with Coach Tim Patterson and Chap and Coach Swain. So we developed those kids because even though I left their senior year, they end up winning a Christian championship.
That was the team with Thomas and all them.
Yes.
Okay.
And they end up making, going and winning that. They went 7-3 in the city, or 7-4, I think, in the city, something like that. But they won in that development. You see the development that took place.
Okay.
So that was real big. So coming from humble beginnings, when I went to Duval Charter, it was a step up.
Right.
Now I'm at 7A. I went from 3A to 7A. It's a huge step up.
Right.
So I never feel the pressure. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's not about me. As long as I'm preparing them, getting them ready, prepared mentally and physically for this game, that's all that we can do.
Do you hear that? It's about passion and preparation. Omar don't get scared at all. Now, I got something to say to Mr. Simmons. I want to know why, when I first started playing with you all, because y'all was older than me, why y'all gave me such a hard time?
I got a hard time. Your dad gave me a hard time. Troop gave me a hard time. Foots gave me a hard time. So, I mean, I'm going to say it's not a tradition, but it's one of the things that we talked about earlier as far as some of the there's not enough old heads around to actually kind of help some of these new guys understand the game. Right. The game is bigger than them.
Agreed.
Because I got an old saying and a drill. I can put 11 against 1. Let's see who wins. If you're that great, I can put you out there by yourself against 11 other players and let's see what happens. At the end of the day, it's a team sport. So a lot of these guys have to understand that.
They really don't. Because y'all kicked my behind for 2 years before I realized that I got to just shut up. Being big and fast didn't mean a lot at that time.
And it worked.
Yes, it worked.
Now, some don't always get it, but at the end of the day, a lot of them do. And when you do become humble and you do understand that the game is not about me and it's bigger than me,
right,
the game will actually slow down for you. And doors will open up for you.
Okay. Now, we're finna move on right quick. Since you being a high school coach, I have to get this off my chest.
Know where you're going.
Stop letting these kids play youth football until they're 16. You are robbing them of time, hard work by not letting them play school ball. I understand you want to see your kid succeed. You don't feel like he can make it at school. Give him a chance, because there's a lot of parents that's just letting these kids play in these parks. And I done named the teams that I know doing things the right way. But there are tons of teams in the city of Jacksonville and around the state of Florida that just want these big and fast kids to play so they can get this cute little trip to California, this cute little trip to Texas,
Orlando.
and a piece of jewelry that's gonna tarnish. Y'all really hurting these kids by not allowing them to up themselves and be coached by people who can actually help them other than you. Sweep right, sweep left is not gonna get you in college. That's just my opinion. You robbing these kids, let them go so they can. This is the reason a lot of schools in Jacksonville are suffering. Because you got kids in the park up to the age of 16. When I was 14 years old, I was playing quarterback for Matthew Gilbert. Even though I had another year of park ball left, this is what my daddy told me. I wish you would take your behind out to that park. I kick you myself. You better be at practice at Gilbert Monday. Man, listen. I was nowhere near as big as these guys, but I learned a lot. Even though we sucked that year, I learned a lot of valuable information. I learned how to hit the gym. I learned how to read playbooks. And I learned that a 32 ISO and a 32 dive are two completely different plays. So y'all got to let these kids go. How do you feel about that, Omar?
Well, in my opinion, some of the kids shouldn't be there, and there's some kids that should, because it goes back to the development. Now, if you're in the right part, like I know for a star rating program,
I forgot about that.
They are a very good program that helps develop those kids for the next level.
Right.
So if you're developing those kids for the next level, yes, I can understand a kid that may not be there just yet still playing on that level.
Okay.
But if you know that you're the best thing out there, because when I came up in Pop Warner, and it was just Pop Warner, I played for Coach Sammy, Forest Cobras, 1987, and I'm showing my age. But at the end of the day, we were coached fundamentals. We were coached how to play the game. It wasn't just sweep left, sweep right, or put my best player at quarterback and let him run. We ran the wishbone option, and we ran it to perfection, and could nobody hardly stop it. But now, and I'm gonna say this, and hear my heart, because I always speak from my heart, not my mind. Some of these coaches have to understand that it's not about me winning or being the best Pop Warner coach or the best high school coach or the best this coach. At the end of the day, a kid coming back from school and saying, "Coach, I thank you for what you did," that's the best to me. But some coaches want to try to be in there with the Sammys and the different other Pop Warner legend
Roger
coaches,
Brown, Henry
things
Brown.
like that. But at the end of the day, what are we doing for the kids?
Exactly.
In some instances, we are hurting them, because I've seen it to where I've seen kids come to high school, don't know how to block, don't know how to run a route, can't get in a DB stance.
Exactly.
They're offensive linemen that block with their elbows. Who does that? We don't. I mean, the game has evolved and changed.
1940 blocking.
Right.
Exactly.
And believe it or not, a lot of these kids don't know what coverages are. They don't know the zones on the field. They're not being taught those things. Again, I don't. If you're out there doing the positive things, by all means do so. But if you're not teaching those kids the right things, in the end, when you get to high school, yes, you are hurting them, because they're not prepared. It's like us not preparing our high school kids to go to college.
Exactly.
Well, I want to actually piggyback off what they're saying. I'm not from the Jacksonville area, from Hampton, Virginia. I was one of those kids, bigger than everybody else, Never played rec ball. But I want to thank the coaches, and Omar, you can kind of contest to this as well. Back when I was in middle school, we had the high school coaches actually meet us in the auditorium. They would yell our names over the loudspeaker, come to the auditorium. We thought we were in trouble. Little and behold, this secret meeting of 20, 30 players, which the coaches, I guess, found our names out and had us come in. He introduced himself. He said, "Hey, we want you guys, you're 8th graders, we want you guys to be on the next level for this 9th grade ball." Some guys didn't participate, but some did. It made you feel like they wanted you to be a part of something. When they got you in there, it was HE double hockey sticks to pay. They got us in the varsity, 9th, 10th grade. We're getting beat up by the seniors, but like they were saying, you sat in the classroom. It was like you were understudy.
Right.
So when your time came, 11th, 10th, or 12th grade, whatever, you were ready. Mm-hmm. So they were right. A lot of these coaches are actually being selfish, keeping these kids on a lower level. Let those kids go to these high school programs and can actually mold them into what they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the schools are suffering because no schools are really getting funded for athletics anymore.
Right.
Because a lot of schools not winning anymore. Mm-hmm. And my school's one of them. I'm happy that Jackson has a young coach, even though he did go to Reigns But the staff he got right now, they really finna make some changes over there, some big changes. I see Paul Jackson, Sam Norris helping them kids change the whole dynamic of that football program. For the attitude that they bring, and they're winners. They're not just people that's coming over that play football. These guys win. I played with both of them. They're going to change the whole dynamic of that school. So what they need to do, these parents, don't go see your kids on Saturday. Send them to school so you can go see them on Friday. That's where it's at. That way you can get them letters in the mail. Them letters don't come from him playing on Saturday. And if they coming from that, he going to school to get screwed. That's just my opinion. Don't nobody go see Pop Warner and YFL kids play from no college. If they do, they got some kind of ulterior motive, period. So with that being said, let your kids play school ball when they can. Stop robbing them. Stop robbing the tradition of football in the city of Jacksonville. Because that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm done with this situation. I'm not going to talk about it no more.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a quick break. Our next guest is actually Commissioner Rod Hughes from the FFA. He'll be joining us shortly.
Appreciate it, old man.
My bad, man.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, what you feel like? 50?
I'm not. No,
You called a man
I'm
50?
43.
Listen, I'm 37.
I'm
and
43.
He 53.
Let's go, man. Let's get to the
Green
next segment.
is in his 50.
All right, bring us back in.
All right.